Hello and welcome back. Today I just wanted to talk a little bit about, I don't know, the 80s, I guess. A bit of nostalgia for me was finding my old watch and wanting to get it running again, which I've managed to do, but I still need to get some straps for it. So it's the module is 248 and it's a W-26 Marlin watch, but it doesn't have the little Marlin fish symbol on it. What I really like are these blue stripes, these top and bottom, these very pale blue. It's a nice shape, it's a pretty classic Casio shape. What got me thinking about it was I recently needed to send off an Amiga to be serviced, and of course it's on its way to Switzerland, so they're not going to service it locally. It is going to go home and get a full recondition. It's some great expense, but it's worth it to me. I'm quite sentimental about the watch. It's a 70s watch. It's a Seamaster Cosmo 2000 with a beautiful green dial. I will go through my watch collection, but I really want to wait for that one to come back before I start sort of showing off watches. But I thought about, watching Stranger Things, the way they present the 80s, and their watches that they're wearing that are period correct. Of course, you can still get these sort of retro style watches, so just to show off that F91W, that's current, you can buy that. They're made in Thailand, I think, a lot of the watches now, but this one was made in Japan, and I just want to show off actually the scale of it, because to me it actually, I like the size of it more than the current sort of F91W. I prefer the scale of this one more. I just need to get some straps for it that will fit. And it wasn't working. I had to unscrew it, and then it's a CR2016 battery, so fits in there. The battery's quite big. And I wasn't sure how to get this part off. The screws came out reasonably easily, but this was not coming off at all. And then I realized that I could use my son's toothbrush because it's got a little sucker at the bottom. And I can demonstrate once you push against it, and then you can pluck it off by just pulling it out. Otherwise, there's no way of getting purchase of it. Even once the screws are out, it's not loose. It's sort of like still stuck down. And it's sitting quite flush on the on that sort of resin casing there. So stainless steel back. Great that it's got screws and you can do your own battery change. And I wasn't sure if it was going to work because it came out in 1983. So it's been with me since I was a kid, and it's got this it's got a bit of road rash on it. I don't know if you'll see that. I haven't got the best lighting, but you'll see that just at the top and even at the bottom, I came off my bike. And this is that 80s thing. It's always sort of presented like we had a great deal of fun in the 80s, that Goonies style, Stranger Things, sort of recreating that vibe of just going off on our little bike adventures. And looking back, and this watch reminds me, that's exactly what we did. Parents didn't care. We just went out, did whatever we wanted. I would have been about 11, I think, when I had this, 10 or 11. And I didn't have to hunt to anybody. My friends and I, we would go down to the sugar refinery. I'll try and put up some pictures of it. It was like a whole world for us to explore, this massive factory that we could sneak into, walk around, these huge piles of sugar, just all this stuff. It was like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. It was insane. And there was also this dump ground of all their old machinery, but it was sort of looked like rocket parts of a spaceship. There were even these sort of big doors where you'd sort of turn the handles to open it up and get inside. So there was all this adventure to be had in the scrapyard for the sugar refinery, but also getting into the refinery itself, which you can't actually do now. There's no way. It's got all the security. They did have gates and fences and things, but they sort of finished the fence just at the sea, and we'd just go around the sea wall and come up the other side. And there was some helmets lying around, so we put the helmets on and just started walking around. I'm sure somebody must have seen us and just thought we were somebody's kids, because that's the sort of thing you did. You didn't really think much of it, and so other people didn't either. Just like, okay, there's some kids walking around a factory on their own. this is the 80s, of course. And we would adventure throughout there was a whole lot of reserve bush all around this refinery, and we'd be able to go on treks, and there were these sort of rival gangs of kids, and I say gangs advisedly, they were just sort of little I don't know, clubs of kids, not really too tough. Some of them were a bit more full on than others, but we'd chase each other on bikes and things like that, throw rocks at each other, firecrackers back in the day. So there was a lot of mischief to be had, and it was really fun. It's not something you would do now. There's no fireworks of that kind. And also just being let loose. I have a couple of kids. I wouldn't let them go at that age down to the park on their own, let alone to a factory, a massive refinery. But of course, my parents didn't even know where we were, so we were just off doing whatever. We'd go off on our bikes. My friend had a chopper. I had some beast of a bike that was some hybrid. It wasn't even a chopper. It was a single gear bike, heavy as hell. I could not cycle uphill. I'd have to jump off it and run, which was not, excuse the creak of my chair. I could not cycle uphill. I could go like nobody else downhill. And that's how I came off the bike. It was sort of like a beautiful long road past these historic homes down to this very sort of hairpin turn on the way down to the refinery. Lots of massive trees around, something you'd envision in the Goonies, and just pedaling like crazy, just not hitting some grit or something, not taking that corner and sliding off. And that's how I managed to damage my watch. But it's a credit to Casio that this is still, not much on the glass, which was great. Just a little bit more like, just sort of sanding it back on top and bottom, which is odd. Don't know how I managed that. And otherwise, for something that's from 1983, this is doing very, very well. So yeah, I can't wait to get some straps for that. So yeah, that's a little bit of nostalgia for me. I'll put up some images because there was this sense with the I don't know, reimagining of the 80s. Was it as fun as they're making it out to be? And yes, it was. I look back now, it wouldn't necessarily be for everybody, but there was obviously a lot of green space around me when I was growing up, so I got to go into the bush. Lots of tracks that we created that are now real paths. So we were sort of one of the sort of, I don't know, pioneers, bush crashing, going through various pathways to find our ways from one place to another. And now they've formalized them, which is okay. It means everyone can use them, but it's not quite the same as when you had to kind of find your way through. So thanks for watching. I'll try and get on to doing the CDs again soon. I just wanted to get something up, and there might be another video soon, because I just wanted to maybe just talk about all sorts of things in this space, because it's sort of a more chilled out space for me than trying to set up in the dining room. Less distractions with the kids. So yeah, we'll see how we go. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.